Hello everyone, I'm CrypticFox, and we're trying out something a little bit different today. This game is called Terroir, and it's a winemaking tycoon game. So basically, we have our little estate or chateau, and we have this winery that's associated with it. And we have to kind of control the crops and grow them and produce wine and sell it off. So I tend to favor games that either are creative or games that ultimately have like a lot of resource management, that sort of thing. So I kind of like those a little bit. So I thought this would be kind of a neat one to try out. So we're going to start our own vineyard here and see if we can produce some award-winning wine. Try and make some big bucks while we're at it. Now I got access to the game actually through a promoter who was able to hook me up with a code. So I downloaded it and we're giving it a whirl today. So we're going to call the winery maybe Cryptic Estates. That'll be our winery for today. Maximum 16 letters. I think that fits. Pretty sure it'll block you if you don't go. If you can't go any farther. Okay, so here's our winery. Now, all these three color tiles in the middle are the only ones that we have right now. This is the only one that's actually growing any crops, although I apparently can't click on it, or anything else for that matter. Okay, so, and then all these ones that are white around the outside of it are crops that we can, or like tiles we could expand into as our winery gets bigger. Oh, here, we got to plant some grapes. Let's choose what we're going to plant. So, the tile that we have here is loam, so we only have access to 2 different types of grape varietals. There are other grapes we can plant in different tile types, but because of the soil for this one, these are the only 2 choices. So we have a Cabernet Sauvignon, which is one of the most planted varietals in the world. Cabernet Sauvignon is used in the production of red wines from Bordeaux, and some of the text is clipped off on the sides. It's a little hard to read. Bordeaux in France, the Napa Valley in the western United States. Full-bodied, bold, and relatively hardy. This varietal can be crafted into some very deep, very yet elegant red wines without too much intervention. The other option we have is a Chardonnay. The Chardonnay is a workhorse of both new and old world vineyards, owing to their relative hardiness and ability to reflect the terroir in rich flavors. From new winemakers to centuries-old chateaus, this is the grape of choice for those looking to create wines of diverse character. There's a wide spectrum of flavors from zesty to buttery. So, the planting cost for this one is $10,000 and it has a $150 monthly maintenance cost versus a planting cost of $5,000 for the Cabernet Sauvignon and a monthly maintenance of $100. I think I'm going to go with the Chardonnay. We'll start off with a white wine initially. I mean, if I'm going to drink wine, and I don't drink wine very often, to be honest, but I usually like a white wine that's a little bit on the sweeter side. So maybe we'll try to produce something like that. We'll see how it scores. Now, on the right-hand side over here, we have like our ripeness level, where we're growing the grapes and trying to get them into an ideal range of ripeness. We kind of want to land right in this middle range, like between 4 and 6 kind of thing, and with an ideal range of landing on 5. Anything that's too low or too high isn't going to produce a good yield of crop, or like a good quality of crop. To control that, we have to like trim back the vines using this little clipper thing. So now, here's the challenge. Clippers will trim away the plants and let them get exposed to more sun, so the ripeness level goes up. But these plants are still only showing no foliage, and they're not growing any. It's April. Her ripeness level is getting really high. If it gets up to 10, it stops producing, and then you can't alter it at all. So I really need these things to grow because they're already overexposed. This is a wonderful first crop. The vagaries of weather. So this is going to be a really rough first wine for us to have to start with because these plants really didn't grow. They're still showing no foliage. That's no good. What's this tile here do? It's like a little forest tile here. This tile is adjacent to a forest and shows a 10% increase in its monthly yield. Oh, that's cool. So we're at a ripeness of 10. Vine's been overexposed to the sun and stopped producing. So this is kind of going to give us a couple challenges because our yield is going to be really low. We're not going to get a whole lot of grapes out of it. But then also the quality is going to be rough. We're going to have to do a lot of post-processing to try to get this wine into some sort of a drinkable shape instead of having just a bottle of turpentine. Still no foliage. I can't believe I didn't... Like, how did no foliage grew at all? This is not good. I'm going to speed this up. We'll get to the point where we can actually harvest this thing because I can't do anything to it. It's not growing. It's already at a 10. It's not going to get any higher. And without any foliage, it's sure not going to get any lower. Oh, we got some rain finally. We're in the month of August. Now we're into September, and I finally got some foliage. So I'm going to try and leave. I'm going to try to leave this for a little bit longer and hope that I can get this just to come down a tiny little bit. I don't know if it will. I think the leaves actually have to get so they're like full-blown, like heavy foliage in order for it to decrease. It's October already. This is like a really late harvest. I'm really going to mess up this. It's November. I need to harvest this. The snow is going to start falling. Let's bring in the grapes. All right, this is oh man, what a way to start. So we got like a half a ton of grapes, which is just awful because it got overexposed like really early in the year. And there wasn't even anything I could do to alter that. 10 sweetness, 10 tannins, 10 body. Anything that's really extreme in this is really bad. So we've got super low acidity, super high of everything else. This is going to take a lot of tweaking to try and make it better. So our first choice is to crush the grapes. So crush your freshly harvested grapes to create semi-solid grape juice known as must. Different methods of crushing will lend different effects on your wine's tannin levels. It will take different amounts of time to complete. Now, because my chateau is only level 1, I only have one choice. I have, just says, oh yeah, Pigeage. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pigeage. We have a traditional crusher, which is not unlocked yet, and then the motorized crusher. So there's basically 3 choices, but the only one I have is Pigeage. Increases tannins by 2. Well, it can't go anywhere unless it's going to like draw something extra on the end over here, so I don't have to worry about that. Takes 5 seconds for varietal to complete. Traditional form of crushing grapes that is closely associated with the popular image of winemaking. It's all of the legwork. So we're going to jump in and stomp some grapes because I don't have any other choices. Man, so that took a lot of money. We started at $35,000. We're already down at $16,000, and I have a feeling that this wine is going to be really bad. So we're going to make some really poor money off it. Oh, look at that. The body actually came down in the crushing process. That's interesting. So I'm not entirely sure how to manipulate all these, but each step in the process gives you the ability to tweak some of the settings on your wine. The body is the one I really don't know how to manipulate too much, but every 2 weeks of fermentation decreases sweetness by 1. Wine, like all alcoholic drinks, needs to ferment. Your wine sweetness will change depending on how long you ferment your wine. Perfection is only achieved through trial and error. Now, again, I think we're kind of looking for that middle-of-the-road outcome, so I want to kind of get it between like a 4 and a 6, maybe, on sweetness. I mean, I like sweet wine, so I would probably be fine even with a 7 myself, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rate well. All right, so every 2 weeks, it's going to drop sweetness by 1. So if I want to get this down to maybe like a 4, then we're going to need to do it 6 times, like 12 weeks. I don't think we can even go that far. So, yeah, okay. So this is 1, that's 2, 3, 4. 4 is the best I can manage. So it's going to have a sweetness of 6, which I guess isn't that bad. I mean, hopefully. It's still kind of in that middle range. And given I'm working with overexposed grapes, it's not so good. Now, the hard part is when we actually get to the point of having the bottles rated, too. And the rating kind of determines what price you're going to get when you sell it. They're going to rate it lower because we overexpose the grapes. So they're automatically going to take like 1 star off our rating, which is really not great. Okay, pressing. So for every 10% of pressed juice, your acidity increases by 1. Before your wine can get aged, you need to press the must to obtain the fermented juices. Use the slider to determine the ratio between pressed and free-run juice. More pressed juice means a higher acidity. And we need some acidity because we're only at an acidity of 1. And with white wine, the acidity is often what people refer to as dryness. So, you know, usually with a white wine, you don't want it to be, you don't want like super low acidity. You want a good amount. So I think if we can get this up to maybe, I don't know, like a 7 acidity, maybe. I think if we, when it gets to the barreling process to lower the tannins, it also lowers the acidity. So if we start at a 1 and we crank this all the way up to a 10. No, you know what? Let's make this like a... Let's try to get it up to like maybe like a 9. This is really gross. I mean, normally you want a lot of free run juice in here, I would think, but we need to get that acidity level up. So this is going to be like a highly engineered bottle right here. What have we got now? Okay, so acidity is really high and so are the tannins, but that's okay because now we're going to get into the aging process. So aging softens tannins of wine, softens a wine's tannins and acidity, giving it a smoother and more balanced taste over time. The decrease in tannins and acidity stops at certain value, depending on the storage type. Some storage methods have a chance of imparting different flavors to your wine, so experimenting with each could lead to some interesting results. We only have access to the common French oak. There's also a stainless steel vat and a white oak, but we can't use those yet because we're poor. We're the poorest vineyard on the block. We're already getting low on cash. We're down to 13,800. Man, this place is expensive to run. Okay, so we use the common oak. Decreases acidity by 1 and tannins by 2 for every month you have it stored. This is the most common variety of wine barrels used across vineyards in the old world. Well, we don't really have a choice because it's the only barrel we have. How long do we want to store this? So if we store this for 3 months, that'll drop the tannins by 6 and get the tannins down to about a 4. And our acidity will get down to about a 6. So I think that'll work. It's February now, so that means we'll want to store it. Oh my gosh, we're already in the new year. Man, my vineyard's gonna go broke before we can even get this first wine out the door. All right, it's February now, so I guess we'll sell it off in, or we'll bottle it rather in May. So we'll have to keep tabs on that because it doesn't let you set the time. You just have to keep an eye on it and hope you don't overdo it. It'll only go down to a certain value anyway. But we'll see what happens. I'm kind of hoping that body mellows out a little bit. So there's March. We have still no foliage on this. Man. Well, it's still early, I guess. Okay, it's rolled around to the month of May, and we have a couple things to do now. So we're going to need to trim back the growth on here a little bit because I want this... I want the ripeness to come up, and looks like... I think it got a heavy growth on it. Optimal foliage, but I need to trim this a little bit more. There we go. Because I want it to actually increase, and as long as it's at optimal foliage, I think it stays level. Heavy foliage goes down, and light foliage goes up. So we'll get the ripeness to come up a little bit, but now we need to get into the cellar, and we'll take a look at what we have in here. So acidity came down to a 6, sweetness a 6, tannins 4, and body 5. Oh, the body did come down. So the aging process did help the body as well. Okay, I think this actually looks like a good bottle. The grape juice makes wine overexposed. 1 star will be deducted from its final rating, unfortunately. So even if we ended up with a really good bottle of wine, it's going to rate really poorly. And we only managed to get 2 barrels of it because we had so few grapes. This is really not a good way to start a winery. All right, so 2 barrels we're starting off with. So we have a choice of using a screw cap or a cork. The cork is more expensive, so I'm going to start maybe with the screw cap. Try to keep my bottling costs low because we're going to get a really poor production run out of this. It's a white wine, so we'll go maybe with this kind of greenish colored bottle. It doesn't seem to change the bottling cost at all, so I'm not sure if that has any kind of an impact on the outcome, but Cryptic Estates Chardonnay 2017. Maybe we should name this something else. Cryptic Estates. Holy cow, it was overexposed. Ah, it doesn't fit. Cryptic Estates Overexposed Bonanza 2017. There we go. I'll give the year in there. I guess we keep some of this in the storage, which, you know, I'm going to be super excited to do. Cryptic Estates Overexposed Bonanza. Let's bottle this up. So now after we bottled it, we need to go into here and organize a tasting so we can get all these hoity-toity professionals to come and sample our wine. We only have access to 3 people to do the tasting for us right now. If the most uppity wine reviewer says it's great, then surely it must be. Invite wine reviewers to taste and obtain a star rating for your wine, and then the star rating affects the suggested retail price. So we're going to bring all 3 of them in. Now, they're going to automatically knock a star off because we overexposed the grapes in that growing process of which I had absolutely 0 control. What a way to start. All right. Invite them to the tasting. Look at that. We would have had oh my gosh, we would have had a 5-star bottle of wine to start off with. Instead, we got a 4, which is actually still really good. It's just a shame that the yield was so tiny, so we're going to make like nothing of this. Perfect for a meal enjoyed al fresco on a mild summer afternoon. All right, well, these guys had no prestige anyway, so I don't know how much their star rating matters, but our wine price is set at $20 for our very first bottle. So let's sell that off. Now, when we sell the wine, it goes out to the wine market, and there are 4 different vendors we can sell through here. These guys at the bottom, they basically just take whatever stuff you were planning to dump down the drain, and instead they'll buy it off you. The unfortunate thing is that they basically only give you enough to recover the cost of putting a screw cap on it. I don't think it even covers the cost of the bottle itself, which is really kind of brutal. So sometimes, you know, it's better just not even bottle. If you think you have a really, really poor outcome, you're probably better just to dump it down the drain because you'll save money in the long run. But there are 3 other vendors here we can sell through. And each of them have like this distributor relations column that tells you how good your relationship is with that particular vendor. And when you get it up to a 5, I guess there's different benefits. So like, for example, I was reading through the tutorial, and I guess with Manhattan Cellars, for example, if you can get this up to a 5, they'll buy your wine for a 10% higher price, which is pretty good in my opinion. I think I want that higher price. So I'm going to try and give them like half of the wine. They won't, no individual vendor here will buy more than half of what you, excuse me, what we have available to sell. So we'll go that route, I guess. We'll give them like half of it and then split the remainder across the other 2 vendors, and we'll just see what happens. No, and the nice thing is by splitting across all 3 vendors, I'll sell the wine relatively quickly. We're under $10,000. I'm going to go broke. First year in business. This winery's going bust. I'm a tycoon master. Okay, so we have these grapes growing now. It's May. That took a long, long time. I mean, I feel like That wine should have been ready significantly sooner, but it just wasn't. Oh, what is this? Vine suffering from fungal rot, and its yield decreased by 30% every month. Can I have some more issues, please? I don't feel like I've had enough yet. I think this game's messing with me. We need to trim this back again because we definitely need to keep it exposed. We're getting a lot of rain this season. Last season, we got an overexposure. Now we have an underexposure. And we're getting nothing. So I need this to go from cloudy and rainy to clear. There we go. Now that it's clear, even though it looks like it's nighttime, I don't know what's up with that. Even though it's clear, that should help with our ripeness a little bit. Cloudy again. And for some reason, the sun only comes out once a month around here. I don't know where we live, but apparently it's like Alaska or something. Or like some twisted version of Alaska. Man, that's growing a lot. I had to trim that twice in 1 month. Okay, so our ripeness level still, again, not so great. We're only to 3. I kind of would like to get at least to a 4 or 5. If I could hold off until maybe October to try to harvest this and see if we... No, I got more rain. This game's out to get me. All right, let's just go ahead and harvest. It's only a 3 ripeness, which is... Yeah, that's weak. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's going to be another highly engineered bottle. Now, at least this time, we didn't suffer from overexposure or underexposure necessarily, so we won't have any automatic detriments. Pigeage is the only thing we have to crush the grapes, so we'll do that. I mean, I'd like to expand out and get some more of these little territories so we can grow some other different types of grape varietals, but 50,000 to get a sand tile, 20,000 to get loam, and I have less than 10. We're not expanding anytime soon. Fermentation decreases sweetness by 1. So I'm going to keep it less than 2 weeks because I need to keep that sweetness up there. Otherwise, we're going to have... I don't know, I've got some terrible wine, I would guess. So let's leave it less than 2 weeks so that should keep the sweetness the same. And now we've got our mix in here. So I only want to drop the tannins by 1 this time. Actually, the tannins are at 5. Acidity's at 5. I might actually be able to make a bottle here without really aging it. It'll be almost like the Naked Grape. I don't know if you've ever seen that wine, but I don't think they age it in any kind of a cask. So let's maybe increase the acidity by 1 on this. And we'll go like 10% pressed juice and 90% free run, and that'll give us an acidity of 6. The body is really low on this, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. The trouble is I don't think that anything will happen with the body if we don't age it. This thing doesn't describe what happens with the body in here. It just tells you what happens with the tannins and acidity. And I'm actually okay with the tannins and acidity being where they are. Common French oak. Done. Okay, so we have it in there. And if we take... Oh, it just rolled over a month. Oh, I ended up aging it anyway. No, it's okay. Okay, so we've got only 3 barrels. So we managed to get 1 more barrel this time than we did the first time. But that's not so great still. Terrible yields I'm getting, just terrible. Let's bottle this up, I guess. It's 0 months old. I mean, this is going to be like the weirdest bottle of wine. I don't know that anybody's going to like it. This has got no aging on it at all. Let's give this a, I don't know, a fancy, whatever. Sure, we'll go with this one. We'll keep a screw cap on it again because it's a cheap cost. So I guess it's, what is it? Like, it's like 120 bottles per, I think it's 120 bottles per keg you get out of it. So this should give us like 360 bottles, which is not so great. 360 times, that must be what it is. Yeah. Okay, so. All right, let's bottle it. I don't know. I really don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm definitely not a wine master. But I just know that I want to kind of keep things in the middle of the road, and that's kind of where I'll probably score best in the ratings. But let's get a tasting organized. And we'll see how they rate this bottle. Again, a 4. Okay, I can handle that. I mean, as long as it doesn't like give us like a terrible rating, like a 0, that would be awful. I would like to score a 5, but I think we're gonna need to try and land in that good ripeness level. And the thing too with the ripeness is it kind of determines what your yield is. So unless you land in that right range, you're not really getting a lot of bottles out of it. Okay, so Manhattan Cellars is paying me a tiny bit more now, I guess because I have a little bit better relations with them. So we'll keep that up, I guess. They'll take 198 bottles, so let's do that, and then we'll split the remainder here. So each one of these will take 81. We're not doing anything to help any relations with them, but I mean these guys are paying more, and we're building our distributor relations with that group. So I guess we'll go that route. Okay, so we've got that all set to go. Now up here, if we check on here, we can check our financial reports. The Chateau Cryptic Estates, pretty fancy name. Lifetime revenue $4,800. That's really awful. We spent. Oh my gosh, we're down just over $8,000. I'm not showing any wine sales from that first batch, but it does say it's a year-end financial report, so it may not update until like January maybe. Chateau maintenance, lots of costs. Vine purchase, 10,000. Net income minus 20,000. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when we roll in the new year, we might see a really big negative number, and I don't know what that does to the game. We might have to go and take out a loan, and that is really not the way you want to start a tycoon kind of simulator. I don't know what I could have done to influence the start, though. Spring has sprung, and we've got some more foliage growing on our vines out here, so we'll get a little bit of grape production. Oh, I want to trim this back right away. Try and get this ripeness up this time. Now, if we check out our financials in here, we did manage to sell some. So we got $14,400, and actually we made a profit of $1,820. So what looked like we were going to lose $20,000, we actually turned a small profit, and my funds are a little bit higher now. I'm a little over 11,000. So that was a really expensive first year, and it would have been nice to get a little bit more financial result out of it. But on the plus side, we didn't go bust. I didn't have to borrow from the bank, which is good too. Lots of tiles in here. So these empty tiles, the empty lots, they're 15,000. And I guess you can kind of choose to put different things on them, but I'm not entirely sure what yet. I kind of want to get one of these sandy plots so we can get some other grapes in, but I know that there's different grape varietals that are much more difficult to grow than the ones I'm working with now. This chest down here on the bottom left, when we get a 5-star rated wine, we'll activate, and we'll get a chance to do a chance card, or what is it called? I don't know. So there's another kind of card, like coincidence or something like that. Chance or circumstance, and circumstances are like little quests that we can do in the game, and then chance is like a random outcome, so it could be good or bad, and you kind of just have to deal with whatever you get. All right, we've got the ripeness up to a 4. Come on, I'd like to get one like right at a 5. That'd be sweet. So as luck would have it, our ripeness actually went up to a 6, but we're not at the point of harvesting yet. So, oh, there, it just dropped right down to a 5. That was perfect. Okay, so we actually swung past where I wanted to be up to a 6. But then some foliage grew in. We got a little bit like the optimal foliage, or I guess it is heavy foliage rather, and that let the rating drop down on the 1 month. So we got to a 5. So now we got like that ideal number for our growth, which should give us a really good yield. 1.54 tons. That is way better than the 0.44 we got in our first year. So like 4 times as much grapes or almost 4 times as much in grapes as we had in the first year, which should give us a lot more that we can produce. So now we're gonna have to do the crushing again. Again, we still only have the one method, but this is going to increase our tans by 2 up to a 7. I'll get that taken care of. Okay, so fermentation. We want to raise our... Actually, this will decrease our sweetness. So I think I want to get the sweetness down to maybe about a 4. So we're going to... If we go to 2 weeks, it'll go down to a 5. If we go to 4 weeks or 1 month, it'll drop it down to a 4. And then I think it'll give us kind of a nice ideal sweetness level. So we're going to go that route. And we're on to pressing now. So this, again, depending on the mix, will change our acidity level. Now, the tannins I kind of want to bring down. I wish I knew ahead of time what would be good in the tannins. Whether it's like, do we want to land right on a 5? Because if we do, like 1 month of aging would give us that 5 tannin, like right in the middle. And I don't know what the balance looks like at this. So we have to experiment, otherwise we can't figure out what we're going to do. So I think I'm going to increase this. We'll go up to maybe an acidity of 7. We'll make it acidity 8. We got acidity of 8, and then if we age it for 1 month, that'll bring the acidity back down to a 7. So we'll have a 7 acidity, of 4 sweetness, 5 tannins, and the 5 body. I don't know how this will change. It might tweak it around. I don't know. So this will... I think this will work out well. So we'll try this out and see what it looks like anyway. So now we're at the point of aging it. Again, we have the same common barrel, but we want to age it for 1 month. So it's November now, so in December, we're going to bottle this and see what happens. It's December, it's winter, and it's time to bottle some wine. It's nice to get this bottled in December instead of like when the other plants are growing in May. Through a combination of excellent weather, whoops, hold on, what we got here? Through a combination of excellent weather and canopy management, this year's grapes were exceptional. This wine gets +1 to its final rating if its final rating is 4.5 stars or 3.5 stars or less. So even if we don't score exceptionally well, see, the funny thing is here, it would actually be better to get a 3.5 than it would be to get a 4 bottle, because if it rated it at a 4 on its own, it wouldn't get a bump to it. But if we get a 4.5 stars, if it actually was only going to be a 3.5 bottle. But we'll see what happens. The body stayed at 5, tannins 5, sweetness 4, acidity 7. So I don't know how this is going to rate, but let's find out. We'll bottle this up. We got nine barrels of it this time, which is way better. So let's just call this CrypticFox Awesome Chardonnay 2019. Ooh, it looks like we're already going to get a 5-star on it. That kind of tweaked out down there. Is that a hint? Does it tell me we got a 5-star bottle? Or maybe it's because I put the word awesome in. Okay, we need to do a tasting. It's funny that it unlocked and then it relocked. I have a feeling it's telling me I'm going to get a 5-star bottle. Let's organize a tasting, though. Same three tasters, and they have no prestige. I'd kind of like to get somebody that has a little bit better palate and a little bit better cultural rating, so that people appreciate what they have to say a little more. But let's invite them to a tasting. 5-star bottle, right there, $23. That's worth. Wow, that was sweet. This wine is delectable, perfect from first sip to final swig. So we got 5 stars out of it, and we got a huge yield, which is good. 1,080 bottles of this 5-star wine. That's amazing. I kind of wonder if there's any benefit to storing the wine. Like, if you keep it so that, you know, when you have a really good year, like later on, you could sell that year at a higher price. I don't know, but let's go here and sell. Man, my funds are $1,300. We're going to the poorhouse. We're going to the poorhouse with a fine bottle of wine. All right, let's take half of it. We'll give it to Manhattan Cellars again. So that was me 432. I probably should try to save some of this. They do have like competitions and stuff that you can try to submit things. So I don't know how that works exactly, but actually let's go with maybe 600 bottles here, 200 here. I don't know, 200 here, and I don't know, 100 here. So I'll keep it like 180 bottles back. I don't know if that makes any difference. Ultimately, I want to sell more through Manhattan Cellars anyway. So if I go this route, you know, maybe, yeah. So I'm going to be really indecisive. We'll just make this 150 each. It's going to do anything again for the distributor relations, but it should help with Manhattan Cellars. Let's sell through the... Ooh, it did actually. It bumped them up to a 2 because I sold them a 5-star bottle of wine. That's probably what it was. Okay, so they're up to a 2. Manhattan Cellars is a 4. Awesome. And it opens up our fancy little chest thing down here. So let's see what the deal is here. Chance and circumstance. Everyone from beggars to kings are subject to the whims of chance and circumstance. Will you roll the dice and see what fate has in store for you? Let's do it. Why not? Please give me something good. I don't really want to deal with something bad. I don't really want to go through the trouble of trying to do some sort of a quest yet, which is the circumstance card, but we'll take the chance card and see what happens. The owner of the neighboring chateau has agreed to sell you a plot of his land at a discount. Effect, the next tile you purchase will be 30% off. Yeah! So unless it's selling for like $1,000, though, I still can't do it. But that's good. So when we finally get enough money, we can buy a tile. We'll get a good discount. So instead of paying like, oh, it's $35,000 now, and $14,000. Okay, so that's way better. Way better. It would have been like $50,000 for that tile. I kind of feel like I should use that discount on one of these really expensive ones. Oh, $580. We're going to the poorhouse. Ooh, we got cash back. All right, so as we rolled into the new year, we should have some more financial info in here. Net income, well, we lost a little bit. We lost 3,790, but I don't think this is reflecting the current set of bottles we were selling, because they're still, if I'm not mistaken, they're still selling them. Let's check the market. 75 bottles, and 300 bottles. So this guy managed to sell 300 of his bottles, so there's some of that cash in there, I guess, but these other ones haven't sold yet. So we're not necessarily as broke as it seems. Though we are not exactly riding high in life. So as luck would have it, I couldn't get an optimal or a heavy growth on the vines this year. We just kept getting beautiful weather, and oh, there it is finally. Okay, so it's September now. I can let this go, and it will bring the ripeness down a little bit, but we're going to be on the high side. We're definitely not going to score a 5 in ripeness this time around. There's October. Come on, let that foliage grow. Let's get this down. I need to get that down to at least a 7. There we go. There's a 7. It's November. Ooh, it's now full. If I leave this till December, it should drop pretty quickly. November. Get it right on a 5. No! Ah! Oh, I blew it. If you let it get right into winter, you lose your whole crop. I should have grabbed it at a 6. That was silly of me. It was in November. All right, so clearly They don't do ice wine in this game. So I'm from Ontario, which happens to be where they have a lot of ice wine, or where they produce a lot of ice wine. It's sold all around the world, and it's a big thing to harvest it in the middle of winter. That's how you get the ice wine, because the grapes freeze on the vine, and then you harvest them. But now we just lost that entire crop. That was terrible. Oh, look, we can enter it in a contest now. Okay, so SIVO, the Castelfiore Institute of Viticulture and Oenology. SIVO Wine Awards 2021 call for entries. All right, so we have only one type of wine we can enter. We can put in our 5-star Cryptic States Awesome Chardonnay, and we'll enter that also here in the Best in Craft, and we'll see what happens. I can't believe I lost that whole crop. That is going to be devastating from a financial perspective. I'm failing at the Tycoon games. Man. Let's submit that. It's the only one we can't submit, so I guess we'll just have to see whether we actually get some growth out of this now, because those vines are looking awfully non-there. All right, the results are in for the SIVO competition. Best Cabernet Sauvignon goes to Cabernet Sauvignon 2017 Pierre de Santi, which is not me. Best Chardonnay, oh yeah, it was the Chardonnay that I put in, but the Chardonnay goes to Misty Mountain. Misty Mountain again. So Misty Mountain got a couple things in there. It looks like the best Syrah goes to Misty Mountain, so they're going to get the award for the best winery. So Best in Craft goes to the Syrah 2019 Chateau La Petite. And then Chateau Monjun gets the Pinot Noir. And Chateau Monjun gets the final award. Okay, so we didn't score any award there, which kind of stinks. Our yield is looking really rough again this year. So I figured out that the foliage grows when it rains. And if you get clear skies, then stuff grows. But as long as it's raining like this, I can't get the ripeness to go up, because it needs clear skies for the ripeness to increase. Okay, it's November. We're negative money, minus 70. I think we might have to take out a loan. This is awful. But we did manage to get the ripeness up to a 4, which is not ideal. The 5 would be ideal, but the 4 at least is a good rating. So let's harvest this. Get rid of this tool. I think we're going to need to bring in... We need a loan. Man, I hate having a loan. Okay, so the minimum loan I think is 3,000, so we're going to go for that. Repayment, let's do this over a period of, I don't know, 2 years. Monthly payments 135. Interest loan rate 8.4%. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, I hate to have to take a loan at all, but after losing a full year's crop, starting off with a terrible crop to begin with, man, are we in bad shape. So you have an option too, I guess, to go in here and repay it if you happen to have surplus cash, which is good. All right, so we ended up with a 4 acidity, 5 sweetness, 4 tannins, and a 4 body. So overall, not bad. We're going to crush the grapes, which will increase our tannins by 2. So we'll have 6 tannins. Okay, it's January. We have a chance to bottle up that wine now. Let's take a look and see how it's doing. So we ended up with a 7 acidity, 4 sweetness, 4 tannins, 5 body. I mean, this seems to be a reasonably good combination. We had a lower yield. We only ended with 3 barrels, which is really, man, I'm really struggling to get a good yield of grapes. We had that one year that was great. But let's choose a different bottle. Let's maybe put it in this one. We're going to go again with the screw cap because, frankly, we're broke. We only have $1,000. We need to bottle this and sell every bottle of it we can. I don't have enough funds to make this purchase. Are you kidding me? Bottle 2 of it and keep the other one in the... No, if I keep it in the keg, it's going to change. All right. All right, we're gonna need a loan. Man. So we'll go in here. I can't take out another loan. Really? You only have 1 loan? I should have just taken more money. All right, let's bottle as much of it as we can, at least. I'm trying to salvage some of this. This is a disastrous outcome. So we bottle that. Let's go into our bottles, and we've got... Oh, I can sell some of this. So again, we have 140 bottles of the 5-star. And actually, we're getting a really reasonable... Oh, there we go. Okay, we're getting a really reasonable price on this. So let's send 98 bottles of it here, and we'll do 21 on each of these. Trying to keep them relatively happy, hopefully. So we'll go that way. We'll sell... Nice. As long as our distributor relations are 5, Manhattan will buy your wines for 10% more. And these are both at 3s because I sent them that 5-star bottle. Okay, so this isn't going to help me get any money immediately because it's going to take time for this to sell. But at least when this goes up a bit, if it goes up a bit, because we have monthly expenses, then hopefully I can bottle that last barrel, because leaving it in there is going to make the tannins go down even farther, and same with the acidity, and that's going to impact the quality. Let's organize a tasting. Oh, we have a new face in the crowd. Caleb Elahi. Let's bring him out on this bottle. I don't know. I think this one turned out relatively okay. So it would be nice maybe to get a rating from someone with a little bit higher prestige. It might help build the renown of my estate over here. And the renown is stuff you use to, like, it's basically how well you're known and how much you liked. And you can use it to increase, you need it to spend to level up your chateau. Fine. Oh. Caleb, you sunk me. I could have had another 5-star bottle if I just brought in that other 1-star prestige person. But instead we ended up with a 4.5 star, which I guess isn't bad. That's a good bottle. 2620. Be done with that. Let's sell this. Hopefully we can. Waiting to sell bottles. No, they won't do anything until they sell that other stuff. So you can sell them like a different type of wine, but you can't sell them more of the same, even though it's of a different year, until they clear out what they have. Okay, I got a little influx of cash. We're at 1,240 now. I'm gonna bottle the rest of this. Actually, it didn't turn out that bad. 6 acidity, 4 sweetness, 4 tannins. I can't believe it's not butter. Buttery flavor granted, plus 10% to your wine's price. Really? Okay. Cool. Man, maybe I should have been leaving this stuff in the barrels a little longer, but let's bottle it. And I guess we can have another. Let's do Cryptic Estates Buttery Chardonnay, because everyone wants their wine to taste like butter. I don't know why. We'll do screw cap again because frankly I'm broke. We'll go with this bottle. So we're gonna do 1 barrel of this. Oh, look at that. I have a couple that are showing the buttery effect now. That's weird. Even though it stayed in there for an extra month. That's so weird. It stayed in an extra month, and it has the exact same settings as these other ones. I don't understand why that is. Nevertheless, let's organize a tasting of this fancy buttery wine. We'll bring Caleb back again. Give me a 5-star this time, not a 4. Now it's buttery. It's got to be good, right? Or something? Oh, you rated it even worse. How does that happen? 24.42. All right, well, that's okay. We've got a good stock of wine that we can sell at least. I'm in positive funds for the moment. We're coming around on another season. I think I'm going to call it a wrap for today. It's been kind of fun. I mean, it's a novel little game. Whoa. Your failure to repay your loan for 3 consecutive months is a breach of your agreement with the bank. You now have 2 months to repay the entire remaining loan amount, as well as an administration fee of 10% of the total pending amount. Failure to do so would result in the bank seizing all of your assets. I think this is what they call epic fail. What do you mean I didn't pay for 3 months? I had cash. Where'd it go? I bottled it. That's what I did with it. Man, we need to sell some wine. Anyway, if I might come back and play some more of this if there's enough interest, and if my winery hasn't been seized by the bank. Man, that first year really sunk me. But it's kind of a fun little game. I'm gonna have a link below to where you can find it in Steam if you'd like to go and check it out yourself. If you do like this kind of tycoon style game or whatever, and if you happen to like wine, then that's probably a really good mix for you. But I had a little fun with it, but thanks everyone for watching the video. I'm as always CrypticFox. I'll see all of you next time.